There's a quick shot of my helper, so I just thought I'd point that out. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure, we can wrap these pipes well around the bike. All you need is just enough room to squeeze that wrap through. So what you want to do is just make sure that you have just a little bit of gap. I've actually put a little, loosen the top bolts and put a little piece of plastic here just to spread these apart just a little bit. And then I've actually up front, I've just loosened the bolts on my foot pegs, on my foot peg on this side. That way it allows me just a little more room to wrap it through there. So just whatever brand you have, just make sure there's enough room to sneak that wrap through there, and you can go ahead and wrap them all on the bike. So let's get started. Here's the top one all wrapped. Okay, before you get started, you want to soak your wrap in water. I just set it in a bowl of water for half an hour or so, just so it gets good and wet. And then let's go ahead and get started. That first wrap sometimes is the most important because it's hard to get started. And you want to get that nice and straight. So what I do is I just take the wrap like this and I wrap it around. And then what I do is I just shove that first piece back in there like that. You want this first piece to be back in here where you can't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and shove that back in there like that. I just kind of hold it on the back side with my hands so that it won't move. And then I just kind of overlap this. See if I can do it with kind of get that nice and straight. And as you hold that, you can start pulling that first little bit. Goes on an angle about like that. About like that. Go straight here and then an angle here. That's the most important, is you want to kind of get it started. You don't want to go around itself twice because then it'll be fat right there and that won't look good. So go ahead and do that and then we'll continue on. Okay, now we're going to continue on. I've got the I've overlapped that twice, so I'll just show you how we do that. Just hold that like that, and then what I do is I just shove the wrap up in here anywhere where there's a bigger gap. You can fish it through with your hand. So go ahead and just pull that through. There's a lot of wrap on the floor here. I've got a whole roll I'm dealing with here. I don't want to wrap get just about all the way and then find out I didn't have enough wrap. So make sure you use plenty. Okay, and then you just kind of pull that one tight, kind of snug, to where you want it. Make it sure it's overlapped about right there. Then I just overlap that one. And it's just kind of have to carefully kind of do it just a little bit as you go. So there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue that process. Now what you want to do as you go, you want to look on kind of underneath here too a little bit. Make sure that it looks good under here and here and here. Because you can actually see it a little bit on the underside there. Make sure you don't have a big wrinkle or something under there. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on doing this, and we'll be right back. Okay, one thing I should mention too, and I hope you're watching this ahead a little bit before you start, but go over your heat shields. This is a heat shield basically. It's not the pipe itself. If you take the heat shields off, the pipe is too small a diameter and it just looks really stupid. So then what you'll want to do too is if your heat shield like goes to here and then ends and then goes down or steps too much, you may want to end it where it steps down because it looks nice if it's just all the same diameter pipe. So just a quick note on that. And then, okay, now what I want to do here is I want to show you how, okay, it's getting tight up in here. I don't have room to shove the wrap up through. So basically what I'm going to do is just the reverse of what I did on the other end. Pull that kind of tight. Now you can go ahead and just very carefully take this piece here. Make sure it's not twisted. Then just shove it back through where there's an opening. Pull the wrap through. My wrap's getting shorter now, so it's not quite so bad. Pull that through. And then all you do is you just slide that over there. Kind of pull your previous roll there tight. Your wrap, and then kind of just pull that through like that. And there you have it. Try to keep them even, and there again, like check on here and feel underneath. Make sure there's no big wrinkles or you haven't accidentally twisted it over itself. Make sure it's nice and straight when you feel down in here. Look underneath, and then we'll continue on. Okay, now it's really getting tight up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to put the wrap up in that area. It's no matter how tight it gets, it seems like you can always work around it. That's the fun part of this wrap. I just love putting this stuff on. I'm a sick piece of shit, but I love it. Show you how to do that. Kind of get up here where it's a little tighter to pull it through. Don't let it snag on it. It's kind of snagged on that cotter pin there, so no matter how tight it gets, it seems like you can always kind of work with it and get it to pull around in there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that. When you wrap that around, make sure it's not twisted. That's the main thing, is when you pull it up in those openings. So there it is. We'll continue on. Okay, there, I've made it to the top. So what I do now is I go ahead and wrap that around the top loop there, and then just have this hang down. Then just snip it off right there. Just snip the wrap off right there. What you want to do is leave it a little long if possible, because better long than short. You can always cut it again, but you want to basically have that tuck under there when you put your clamp on. So, and then one other thing too, you don't need to get too close to your bolts, your header here. Leave a little space, because if you ever need to take off the pipe, you go in a little space there so you can get to the bolts and everything. So you don't need to run right up next to the bolts. Let's put the wire ties on and we're finished. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wire tie this off now. I put the one on already, so just basically what you do is you wrap that around. Now, one thing you got to make sure is you put the head of the wire tie up like this. If you put it the other way, you'll hate it, because you won't be able to cut it off and deal with it. So make sure that's up like that. It's like any other wire tie. And then just go ahead and slide the end in there. Now, sometimes you have to kind of screw with them just for a second. Sometimes they're a little nasty, but once that starts in there, just pull that through. Now what I do is I go ahead and just kind of snug that up. Okay, now I hope I can do this with the camera here. I can go ahead and kind of just pull that tight and hold that with your finger. You don't need to get it really super tight, because you want to rotate it out of the way later. And then I bend that over like that. That kind of holds the wire tie tight. And then I take a pair of like wire cutters, dikes, and I hold that, give that about an inch or so there, 3/4 of an inch. And I squeeze that really tight. Then just go ahead and bend that back and forth a few times, and eventually it should break. Okay, broke off. Now what I do it's a real sharp end there, so what I do now is I just take the pliers and I just bend that over. Just take the end of it and bend it over, like that. And I can go ahead and finish the bend with my fingers. I bent that over so that there's no sharp edge now. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that with my pliers. And then you can kind of just tuck that down, a little tap. Then you can rotate this out of the way. So go ahead and rotate that out of the way. Take a plier or something, shove it through there. I'm going to rotate that so it's down on the bottom side. And there you have it. These don't need to be super tight, because once you run the bike for a little bit, they're not going to go anywhere. So there's what it looks, and then we'll go ahead and show you what the whole thing looks all finished up. Stay tuned here, because I'm going to do a little extra to this wrap. I'm going to take some black paint and actually weather it a little bit. That's kind of fun, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, because this white wrap is going to get dirty anyway, I'm going to actually kind of weather and give it kind of a dirty look to it, just so it's kind of more even and uniform than if it does it automatically. So what I've done, I've just mixed up a little bit of just generic black paint and some paint thinner, and I'm going to take a rag and I'm just going to kind of wipe it out quickly over the top edges. That way it'll kind of just hit the high points. You can kind of experiment, you know, use your leftover wrap and wrap it around something and kind of experiment, but I think it'll look kind of cool, because like I say, it's going to get dirty anyway, and we kind of on these bobbers, we kind of want the wrap look anyway. We don't want that perfect look. So the tan wrap would be a good one too. I've done the tan, and you can really get carried away with it and do it, and it's really fun to do that stuff. The dog's in the background. I think that's enough. Okay, there you go. Just to kind of make it look kind of dirty and kind of used and kind of old. That's what we like. So there you have it. I've done the clamps here. You can use one wire tie if you want, one up at the top, two at the bottom, whatever you want. There's nothing sacred about it. So there you have it. All I got to do is pop the side covers back on, and I think we're set. Oh, be sure and tighten up your foot pegs and your pipes again if you loosen them a little bit. And there you go. Oh, one thing too. When you start your bike, this stuff will kind of stink for a while. It kind of smokes and stinks a little bit. Don't worry about that. It'll go away with time.